My name is Kris Gethin, and what I aim to bring to you is inspiration, motivation from clients, everything that will allow you to evolve as a human being. Hello everybody, this is Kris Gethin, and you are listening to the Kris Gethin podcast. We have a special episode. Well, actually, they're all special, but this one is an ultra special episode because this interview that you'll hear is with a friend of mine, a client of mine. This is out of Mumbai, and his name is Hrithik Roshan. I'm sure many of you may have heard of him. For those that haven't, he's a huge Bollywood actor. Millions of people from around the world love him, follow him, watch his movies, and for good reason. I've got to know him on a personal level since I first started working with him. Over 10 years ago now. There's one person that I've agreed to go back and train again recently, and that is Hrithik. And I've had a lot of people approach me, other celebs, other professional athletes, but as you guys probably know, I'm a very busy person. But with Hrithik, I made the exception because I really like the guy, and I really want to help him transform again, which we did successfully. So the interview that you're going to hear now is talking a little bit about that journey that we went through over the 12 weeks. What a lot of people do not know about Hrithik is that, and a lot of celebs for that matter, is that Hrithik works really hard. People think that celebs have it easy. You're probably going to think I sound biased, but they really don't. I remember working with Hrithik back in like 2013, and he didn't take a day off for like 7 months. He worked his ass off, and sometimes those hours are like starting at 4 o'clock in the morning, finishing at 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's exhausting work, but he would always hit his targets, eat his meals, go to bed early. Of course, sometimes it was a struggle if he had to shoot throughout the night, but he always get his workouts in, and this guy deals with a lot of injuries that he's had since a teenager. So sit back, get yourself a cup of joe, and I hope you enjoy this interview. We're at the end of the 12 weeks, mate. Did it go quick for you, or was it like, God, I can't wait for this to get over with? This time stood still.
Let me just absorb what he just said. It's the end of the 12 weeks.
12-week transformation, first phase.
Wow. That's, yeah, it's good you said first phase, because that's what it is. It's the beginning. But honestly, it doesn't feel like 12 weeks at all. It feels like we just started. It feels like it's been, 4 weeks at the max. And I don't know why that is. I've just been so engaged. It's been so engaging. I haven't felt the time, because it's been so entertaining. I've enjoyed this process so much. I think that's what happens when you're enjoying something, that you don't realize how much time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy that I'm finally here. I have been visualizing this day for the past, I think, more than 3 or 4 years, because I knew this was coming. I knew that I am going to be at a point in my life where I will need this transformation once again. Because I was all over the place, and I was resting on past glory. So I have been sending out the vibrations, and I've been on that frequency, slowly getting closer and closer and closer. And it's taken us about a year through the pandemic to find the right window for you to be here.
Yeah, because it was initially going to be before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then that happened, so that was a couple of years out the window.
Yeah. So my last film, which I did, my last film, which I did, War, that was an eye opener. It revealed a lot of things that I was taking for granted in my life. Maybe age was one of those factors. Having said that, I know it was an age.
Well, you've proven that now.
I don't feel that right now at all. So in hindsight, I think it was a lot of other things, a plethora of things. But it all boiled down to I was not living the kind of life that I wanted to live, health-wise, body-wise, and it happens to all of us, I guess. Our the plate stays the same, but the amount of things that gather around us in our lives, they start becoming more and more important than your health. I love my work. I love to work. I want to put my best into my work. I love spending time with my kids. I love spending time with my partner. I love traveling. I love spending time with my family, my mom, my dad. And somewhere along the way, I started feeling it's okay to, rest, relax. I'm playing a blind man. I'm playing a teacher. So I think that's one of the things that I have to remember now. That even when I am playing these characters, I cannot let go of the lifestyle, which is now no longer for a particular film. It's not a transformation. This is not as we discussed. This is not a transformation for a film. This is me trying to find the lifestyle that I want to now maintain for the rest of my life. So it's for longevity, and that's what I'm doing this for now.
Yeah, because like having that sense of urgency for a movie is good. That's absolutely fine. But if it is just superficial, then what happens? You just regress. You go backwards.
Yeah.
But you have experienced through the past 12 weeks, and obviously before, how much better that you feel from spiritual space, from a mental space, and physically as well. And that's going to give you the longevity and happiness. That's your reward.
Exactly. It's the short-term gratification versus the long-term gratification. And the short-term is great. It comes, it goes, and then after having done that a couple of times, many times, you realize, short-term is not that great. It's the long-term where the joy, where the happiness, where the contentment lies. It's always the long-term gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And and that takes visualizing, that takes imagination, that takes patience. But there's a shortcut, and the shortcut is, if you enjoy it, then it becomes easy.
All right, so now looking back over the last 12 weeks, a lot happened. Obviously you had a movie come out. There was a few things that you can discuss that happened along the way as well. Kind of put us on the back foot. But if there's anything that you could have done differently over the past 12 weeks, what would you have done?
Not got COVID, for one.
Yeah, what are you going to do that for?
Getting COVID right in the middle of our of the muscle building phase was very disheartening. I thought it's all gone to the dogs now. I just lost. But even through that, I got to learn. I got to learn that the body is stronger than I thought. When I had COVID the last time, it took me 2 months to recover. 2 months to get back into the gym. Of course, this one may have not been that a strong COVID. But we were back in the gym in I think 15 days, just trying to start lifting the kind of weight that we were. In 2 weeks, that's like, I couldn't imagine that. So even through that, I got to learn that I don't need to assume. And this is something that you kept saying. I don't know what the exact words were, but what you were trying to say is that don't assume that you're not going to be back in the gym, in 10 days or 8 days, 12 days. And that helped a lot. That there is somebody who knows better and who is here to support and guide and push. So the decision-making process becomes so easy. I could relax through my COVID. And I have to start and learn how to do that for myself now. Because this time I've been very aware of your presence and what you bring to the environment. the command that you bring, the experience, all of that, yes. But what is it that you're making? What is it that you're doing that's making my life easier? Because I mean, if you just look at it, it's eating and working out. It's simple. You'd say anyone can do it. But no, it's not that. It's not just that. It's a lot of other things. I'm still, I want to sit down and make a note of all the things that that you have made possible for me to be in a kind of state where I am empowered, no matter what. And what was missing when you were not there? What was I not being able to do to bring me into that state where I was feeling empowered all the time? And it's just this. It's the dilemma of not knowing. It's the dilemma of uncertainty. It's the dilemma of decision making. Every decision. Okay, how much weight? Which exercise next? If I'm having a late night, I don't want to. But if I have had a late night, how do I, negate or nullify something I've done or eaten, or all that knowledge, all the experience? I think that not knowing, not having that information makes a lot of us doubt all the time. Am I doing it right? And then because you don't know 10,000 things about what is right and wrong, you just feel like you just need to go and push hard in the gym, and then eat, push hard in the gym and eat. But there's so many other things that's going on. It's the rest of your environment that needs to all come together. And that's what has happened the past 12 weeks for me.
And I think because you're in a position of being, like, for instance, like the pivotal role of the house, the powerhouse of making so many decisions, you just don't want this decision-making fatigue of this as well. Especially, like you said, you're going through a stressful situation like COVID. It's like you just want to dump it onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Just so you can kind of relax and focus on what you need to do, such as getting better in that instance.
Yeah. Absolutely. There is the weight of decision-making, and not the big ones. The big ones are easy because they don't. When you have a big decision, you sit down with it, and you make it either ways. But the smaller ones, the really, really smaller ones, I mean, even as small as, I don't know,
how much food I should have for breakfast.
How much food, yeah. There's so many little things throughout the day. And they actually start weighing on you. Answering SMSs, looking at emails, to get that all boxed into compartments and have a discipline through the day is how it needs to be.
Yeah.
Just to feel in control.
Yeah.
Of things.
Now, when I came the first time, there was good reason for why you were out of shape. You had the spinal injury.
Yeah.
Doctors told you to basically stay in bed for several months. So understandable. But this time, obviously you've got a lot. It seems like you've got a lot more weight on your shoulders, a lot more responsibilities. Since then, now you've got HRX. Now you're involved in Cult Fit. Obviously, you've got your family, you've got your girlfriend Sabat. Do you think all of this extensive responsibility had led to you going, you know what, the health part can just wait for a while because I've got so much going on over here? Is that why you kind of put that to the side, do you think?
I mean, all that does, you need to make time for all of that. That's all very, very important. But what have I lost? What did I have to, what I'm trying to ask myself right now is, what did I have to sacrifice from all of that to be able to, live the last 12 weeks? I have spent time with my boys. I have spent time with my partner. The only thing that I think was non-existent, actually, there was also a film. I went through the entire post-production of the film. But this time, I had someone to blame.
Yeah, so
If
I
I
was
was
the
letting,
pincushion.
if I was letting someone down, I had you to blame. All I had to do is play a voice note, and they could really, feel the seriousness of how important the sleep is now. So that really helped. But I think what I was not being able to do is assert my own power for my own boundaries, which is what I think I built through these past 12 weeks. I don't like letting people down. I want to be there for everyone who I love and care for. But these 12 weeks, I have put into everyday deliberate practice to say, let me see what happens. Let me see if it's rest and digest if I'm eating my meal, and I need my body spiritually to just be calm while I rest and digest this food. There are messages about my movie which has just released and it's urgent. Do I pick it up now or do I pick it up after 10 minutes? And I stopped myself, and that was, I think, the change that I have brought into my life now. Is everything else waits, and I follow my rules and keep my boundaries intact for myself, for my body, for my mind, for my heart. And I think that is what I was unable to do earlier. I could never in my life tell somebody who is a collaborator with me on a movie that, hey, I'm going to come, but I'll be there only for 1 hour because I got to come back and sleep. Sleep? That's like, it's unheard of.
They're kind of like disrespecting that person you're going to meet.
You want to go relax. You don't want to work. That's not my DNA also. I have not been brought up like that. We were not taught about the balance. We were only taught to sacrifice and to push, and that there is no good place to get to if you don't have an enormous amount of pain. So a lot of us have been going out there looking for pain. We want to be the phoenix. For the phoenix, you need the ashes. So we're looking for the ashes. I don't want to look for the ashes anymore. I'm done. I have risen like the phoenix many, many times in my life. I want to be smiling now. And that's how I've gone through this transformation. It's me not being able to put down my rules and saying, this is the cutoff. That's the time I will work. This is the time I will, be with me and do the things that I need to do for me. And everything fell into place, man.
Yeah.
Everything fell into place. I did everything and I did it better. Wow. I did not sleep even one night beyond what? What's the maximum? All my scores. What's the latest I must have slept in the past 12 weeks?
Oh, past 12 weeks is probably around midnight, was it? Something
Maximum.
like midnight. Yeah, and that was.
I've never crossed 12.
Yeah.
And 12 o'clock.
It was later than that when we started, and now it's been closer.
Now
mostly around.
Now it's 8:39, 9:30.
Yeah.
I'm in bed.
And not only that, what is more important, I believe, is just the quality of your sleep. Like tracking your sleep. Now we see, wow, you can get crowns.
Yeah.
You've never really done that before.
I never thought I'd achieve that my whole life.
Yeah.
Whole life.
And the funny thing is, when we begun like that little sleep score group, you were like at the bottom, and now, I think yesterday, like you had the best.
I was a winner.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Wow, man. That for me is like, it's bigger than an Oscar. I made it. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And like, do you feel like mentioning about, rising from the ashes, being that phoenix, do you think you had something in you that was like a little bit self-destructive, where you're saying, okay, I'm going to look like this, I'm going to go through this transformation, but in order for this transformation to look even better, I'm going to look my worst to begin?
Oh, that way?
Yeah. Did that ever enter your mind?
No, not really.
Okay.
But having seen my before pictures, it almost seems like I've worked harder for the before pictures
Yeah.
than my
Should be
after
very proud of
pictures.
those, yeah.
Like, wow, he really works for his before pictures.
Yeah.
He really makes them look.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd been working for it when I first saw you take your top off.
Yeah, wow. No, but there is every person who is striving for that amount of perfection is in a sense self-destructive, because, and I've realized this now, that I'm pursuing that perfection because there's a part of me that of course knows that I can be a certain way and look a certain way and deliver and all of that. I can look great and I can be great and all of that. But the way to get there, what is driving me, if it is fear, and if I'm compelled to make up for another part of me that I feel is maybe stupid or not good enough, or just not good enough, if I'm operating from lack, then reaching that point of perfection becomes more important than anything else, and it destroys your well-being, and that's not a healthy space. I still want to be that perfect, but I don't want to come from lack now. I'm accepting that there are parts of me that feel stupid sometimes, that feel ugly sometimes, and that corresponds to me thinking, my inner child thinking, that if I'm like that, then I'm not going to be loved. So it's all because you want acceptability. You want validation. So I am very, very accepting of all my paths now. There's part of me that is is strong and is the driving force and perfection and all of that. And there's another part of me that I feel, that it's the vulnerable part. And I am now going towards wherever I'm going out of that vulnerability. And it's a lot more peaceful. I feel a lot more peace.
So do you feel you have found balance yet? Since the 12 weeks happened, yes, I'm sure you found a little bit more balance now, or at least you have a better idea of what balance is. If so, do you feel that you found it? What is it?
I hope so. I really do hope so, because if I'm very conscious of the fact that this is it's a very important moment in my life, and I need to grab it. I need to take what I have learned and put it to practice every single day. Balance is a word that can be used, misconstrued in so many ways. Like, when you say balance, it could mean, yeah, all right, you can go to the gym and you can have some alcohol. You can go to the gym and you can have some sugar. That could be balance.
Healthy balance, then.
A healthy balance. But, so what I think is important is that balance cannot be between two extremes. I don't think that works at least for me anymore.
No.
Because if I try and find a balance between extremes, it's so easy to, if you're subjecting yourself, exposing yourself to those stimulants and sugar, alcohol, a puff of a cigarette, it's like they say, there's no one puff. It's one puff will lead to like a line of 25, 30,000 cigarettes. So there's some things you just cannot do in your life. You should just avoid. And so I am now trying to see, what the spectrum looks like for me, for the balance that I need in my life. How much sugar do I need to have? Of course, smoking and all has been out for years now. So happy about that, man. That has been my biggest struggle. The worst day of my life was when I started smoking at 35, I think. And
then you started smoking again later, didn't you?
So 35, and then You came to 2012. I was smoking at that time.
I thought you was going to say as soon as I come, you started smoking.
Then I stopped smoking for Kris.
Yeah.
And then after Kris got done, I smoked for a year and a half again. So it was like a on and off struggle to actually give it up. And I couldn't. Now I have, and it's bliss.
Yeah.
No longer a slave. And feels really amazing. And I love being around people who are smoking. Now,
Funny.
yeah, I love it because it just makes me feel free.
Empowered.
Yeah, empowered and free. And I empathize with them.
Yeah.
I feel sad. I don't see the point of it. Watching a sunset, and you need this to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense anymore.
Now, we just finished a shoot downstairs, and obviously one yesterday. And the one thing that keeps coming up in my mind, because you never talk about age, like we're both the same age. I never really talk about it. We don't talk about it. But you're defying age now, because there's a part of me when we started the transformation, and I said to you a couple of times that you're a little bit older now. We just don't know how the body's gonna react. Thankfully, nothing's really changed. Your body reacted much the same way.
Yeah.
Carb loading the same way. Your body went through the carbs. Really, really cool. So, do you feel 48 years old? You certainly don't look it in these pictures. How do you feel?
Well, I'll just go by the feeling. I feel as light and as fast now as I felt after our last transformation.
11 years
So I'm
ago.
comparing those two dots.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't feel different at all, but I did about a year back.
Yeah.
And when I was doing my film War, when I was doing that film, I wasn't good, and I thought it was age. It was my body. I thought I was dying. Honestly, I thought I was dying. Like some of the nights when I came back home, I was not sure if I'd wake up in the morning.
Why was that?
Because I think I was not prepared for the film, and I was up against a really big challenge, and the side of me that is striving for perfection, otherwise I'll be found out, and no one would, people would know that I'm not that good, as good. So I was driving myself, I was destroying something inside while trying to achieve that perfection. And I think that that took its toll mentally, physically. Because after the film, I went into adrenal fatigue, and I was for 3 or 4 months. I couldn't train. I wasn't feeling good. I was almost on the verge of depression. So I was completely lost. And that's when I knew that I need to make a change in my life. And when I look back from that point, I saw myself, while I was doing Kabul and then Super 30, and I'm being a blind man, a teacher, and I'm just looking at my lifestyle, allowing myself weeks and weeks of binging and then suddenly, working out for like 12 days and getting into a little bit of just having my shoulders pumped enough to like keep the myth alive.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the truth. So I was resting on past glory, and my lifestyle wasn't good. So it's imperative now that I take control.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a contrast of extremes there.
Yeah.
Like you said, whether it's fasting to binge or some sort of comfort with chocolate late at night.
That's what I'm saying. I thought I was, there was a balance, but I was balanced between extremes. I was fasting, but then I was binging.
Yeah.
And then I was fasting again, then I was binging. And in my head, the fasting was allowing me to binge. And the binging was something I was doing because I knew I'm going to fast. But it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work. And I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't sleeping the way I'm sleeping now.
So just talking about your injuries, like you've got a lot of injuries that are very, I don't know, you just can't predict them. Very unpredictable.
I don't know if it's injuries or if it's just the way my body is. from birth.
Yeah,
It's
well, maybe
crazy.
it's that. Like, when did these injuries, or when did they start happening, and like what makes them flare up?
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of like a rare disease that's not yet been discovered. Because I remember being in like the seventh standard and not being able to attend school because there was like these really sharp pains in my under my kneecap and my knees and my back. I had my first spasm when I was like 13 years old.
30, and then you weren't even participating in sports.
Nothing. I just there was a spasm. I had to go to the doctor, and since then it was put in my head that I have scoliosis and there's something wrong with me and all of that. And then the doctor said, "You should not think of being an actor because dancing and jogging and action will just put you under the under my knife on the table, and then after that, 50-50 chance." I was like, dude. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But yes, I have got specific injuries. But yeah, the pains in my body, they just crop up, But how many times have I complained of pains in my last transformation and this one? Almost none. I mean, the only issues I've had have not been the kind that I usually suffer from. Which means that if I follow this lifestyle, I'm okay.
Yeah, because in the beginning, there was some concerns here.
Yeah, I was so scared. I was so scared to lift that weight.
Yeah,
I was so scared to squat that weight. I wasn't sure if my body would take it, but because there was no inflammation, perhaps because there was no sugar in my diet, my food was so clean, my sleep was great.
Yeah.
I didn't suffer those pains. So I think that's just something I'm really looking at,
Yeah. Just living a little bit more of an anti-inflammatory lifestyle and sleeping better, eating better, hydrating will contribute to.
I think that's what I need,
Yeah.
More than somebody who's normal. Normal in the sense that someone who doesn't have the kind of pains I have.
Mm.
And if you are suffering from any kind of chronic injuries or the painful joints or any kind of pains in your body, I mean, this is the best thing to do is to just cut off sugar completely and sleep. Are these would you say these are the primary two things that I have done?
For sure. Hydration, sleep, cutting out any inflammatory foods.
No inflammatory
sugars,
foods.
Refined vegetable oils, and working out, resistance training.
And sleeping well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have been pain-free.
Touch wood.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you ever so much for your time. You're getting pulled in directions behind us.
That's all right. If we need to talk anymore, we can.
No, I just want to say thank you ever so much, not only for this interview, but for allowing me contribute to your transformation. It's been a pleasure. We were on the fence for a little while, and I'm so glad to witness what I've seen the last couple of days, but excited for phase 2 to come.
Absolutely. And I'm obviously more thankful for not just having you here, but for everything that you have lived that's made you who you are today. From your injuries and to all the things that you put yourself through, the learning, the discipline, collecting the knowledge, and serving the world the way you have. I mean, before you came in with to train me for Kris, the terrain of our country where fitness is concerned was something else.
Mm.
And I think what we did, what you brought, and then through that transformation, what people got curious about and then learned, has actually sprouted the entire fitness revolution that's happened. Right after that, that's a very prominent dot in the chronology of the fitness environment in the country.
There's no doubt. A lot of people still talk about it now to this day.
And so I think I want to say I manifested you because I needed that in my life. So thank you for every single thing that you have been through that's made you you. That's what I want to say.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. It means a lot. All right. Thank you, brother. All right.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Kris.
you, my man. All right. And that is the Kris Gethin podcast. And until next week, we is out. Thank you ever so much for listening. My name is Kris Gethin, and I am out.